Yeah, hello. I was just welcoming Melissa in this space. I'm so happy to have you here. It's beautiful to have a conversation with you, and it's just beautiful to be able to co-create this space together.
Yeah, there's something really powerful about our energies together that I really love, and it makes me want to keep coming back for more conversations.
Me too. Me too. Me too.
See
It's
what
so
comes
much
up.
fun. Yes. I remember the first time that we got together and we work in an interview for the Sexpert Talks Summit that I did. And right away you were like, oh, guess what? I got a gig just after our call.
All that manifesting essential energy. Yes.
Yes, that was so beautiful, so powerful. And that's something that I also find very fulfilling, like how when women get together we get to create so much magic. I really am convinced that that is the path, like women working together. That's why we have been separated for so long by culture, because they know it's like those energies that rule the world know that
Yeah.
when women get together, we just make things happen and we just start healing and connecting and loving one another fully and loving ourselves more. It's just like if that there is a healing energy that just happens without even wanting or pretending or wanting to make it consciously. It just happens when we get
Mhm.
together.
I think that's why they wanted to suppress it for so long, because it's uncomfortable for other people to have to be shaken up and see their truth just by being in the presence of that deep connection and deep knowing.
Yeah, it's so powerful, and that's why just the sisterhood, the creation of sisterhood, it's such a life-changing energy, right? And then if we add purpose to that, we have the magic potion in there.
Yeah, it's all about tapping in, because I feel like it's been misrepresented and misunderstood for so long. And essentially it's like sensual energy is life force energy,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I think that the beauty is that this sensual energy has so many ways in which it shows. Like
Mhm.
it doesn't need to be sexual, but it can just be really. I don't know. I would really love to hear your experience, but for me, I have come to a point in which I really love and appreciate the sexuality and sensuality and the expression of life of women in such a way that I couldn't before. Like when I started working on sensual energy in my own self, I started really looking at women with whole new eyes. It's just like I am the biggest fan of women. I just like, oh my God, we are amazing. We're so gorgeous. And look at what she's doing and look how she looks and what she's presenting and creating. It's just like this idea that we compete. It's part of the patriarchal system, but in reality, when we get together, we just start really loving so deeply each part of us. It's like I'm your biggest fan. I love your pictures. It's just like, oh my
No,
God, Melissa
same,
is
sweet.
so gorgeous. And look at what she's doing with her magazine and her
Oh,
meditations. And it's just like one cannot look at another woman without looking at her radiance. It's really like a beautiful platonic adoration that just starts happening.
yeah, it really is something to kind of sit back in awe and take it in, because it is such a genuine, authentic, high vibration energy when it's healed and when it's full embodied.
Yeah. Yeah. And have you noticed that? I mean, I know you have these spaces, of course, your magazine and your group, but also in your work. Like you just work with the handmade tale.
Handmade sale,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, and that's just like the metaphor, the perfect metaphor of the this system that it's keeping us apart and disempowering women, and also all these powerful women in the cast working together. Like what was your experience with that?
It was really a phenomenal experience. It was a nice change to work with all women as opposed to mostly I usually work with all men because of my industry doing stunts.
Mhm.
And the level of talent and the depth that they can take the character was just phenomenal to watch. It made it really easy to get into character, and and it really made you want to have as many conversations as you could in between takes, kind of learn and grow from one another. And it was really fascinating with Ann Dowd. Like, she has got to be the nicest person I've ever met in person, and when she gets into her like mean role, she is terrifying. It sends chills down your body. It's just like, she's so, there's a certain energy to Emmy award-winning acting. It's really interesting to be around, and I was blessed to be around like at least 3 actresses that have won Emmys on that show. So it was very powerful.
Wow, that's so beautiful to hear. I can get that feeling of just being empowered by the power of other women. Like that for me is maybe the most significant magic. I always say that it's like women are this comes from a ceremony. I have to give you the context because I know that you're going to appreciate it, because we were just talking yesterday about rituals, about the cacao ceremony and the rituals here in Mexico. So in one Mayan ceremony some years ago, we were given names, like the sacred names, the Mayan names. And just before the naming ceremony, the shaman was explaining to us how for the Mayans, the goddess connects us all through the heart. It's like she's dwelling in the heart of every woman. And then my name was related to that. It was Hon Puxikal, which means one heart.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
then when I went to the teacher, to the shaman, and I said, okay, what is the meaning of this? Like one heart. She said that it is because it is one heart. It is her heart, the heart of the goddess, that it's speaking to all of us. So I feel like ever since I could understand that in my body, and I share that with the people that I talk with, it's literally we are like Bluetooth speakers of the heart of the goddess. So we're the transmission, and we just need to turn the speaker on so that we let that heart like light us all.
Yeah, it's a beautiful remembering. And you do so through tapping in every day.
Yeah. And I would take it one step forward by saying that it's not just the heart, but it's literally our wombs. It's like, I feel like it's really two speakers, right? Like with a good audio system.
With very high frequency.
Very good quality of sound requires at least 2 speakers. So we have the speaker of the heart and the speaker of the womb, and they both are directly connected to the energy of the goddess. So that's why sexual energy, it's really life force, and it is just like awakening one another. It's like we really start awakening each other as we get together.
And how many different ways do you feel like the sensual energy has been misrepresented and misused?
I feel like maybe the worst is by objectification, because it really takes away our humanity. So I feel like the thing with sexual energy is that specifically for women, it has been taken from us and used for the service of capitalism or men or patriarchy, whatever. Like I have had women literally telling me that they don't feel comfortable touching themselves because they feel like they are cheating on their partners. So it's like we really got our sexuality removed from our bodies and used and seen as objects. Like and I feel like that's the worst misinterpretation, because as we show up in our sexuality, which is just part of who we are, like we cannot not be sexual. That is just not working. That is just trying to walk without feet. It's just not who we are. And as we show up in our sexuality, we discover that there's always somebody saying, oh, so you want to have sex, oh, so you are there for me, for my consumption, for my desire. And I find that that is the most disempowering thing, that they don't know, or maybe they do, how disempowering that is to show up as a human and end up as a thing that exists for somebody else's pleasure.
Yeah, it's so egoic.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's deeply harmful. At the end of the day, I see how people just start collapsing as a way of protecting that sacred seed that it's inside of us. And when it's so tainted by culture, we develop this sense of, okay, let's try to protect it.
Hmm.
And we are denying. Well, and I can see the full picture just as I'm talking. Like, imagine if we speaking about this light one another up, and
Hmm.
somebody listening is lit up with this conversation, and somebody just by being together and dancing together and playing together is lit up. Imagine what happens when we tend to hide this energy in order to protect it from being tainted or destroyed or taken away. We stop nourishing one another, and we stop living in this full healing way that happens when women get together.
Hmm. And it's also a matter of realizing that on a deeper level, it can't be taken away, and it can't be tainted, and it can't be misused if we don't allow it, if we don't give that power away to anybody else.
Yeah, exactly. That is so true. But it's so true, and it's so sad because when we start getting that feeling, it's when we are too young to realize that. So it takes
Absolutely.
conscious
Hmm.
awakening, conscious healing to remember that nobody can take it from you and nobody can destroy it. But the sad part is that we learn that very, very young. So it's hard to get to this stage of
Yeah, it's
healing.
very programmed. Yeah.
That's why we need other women.
Hmm. Yeah. And like yourself, walking in that power unforgivingly and showing them by example what it looks like.
Yeah, yeah, and like what you are doing, like gathering women and gathering around it, I love that. That is precisely what you do. Like, you give women voices, which is what we were talking about last time. Like, you actually
Hmm.
start giving women voices, and getting together and showing that strength and this fierceness, which is what I have always seen you standing for. It's like, yeah, but we're fierce and we're not gonna let anybody tell us differently, that we are powerful and nobody's going to tell us the opposite. So I really love that power that you display, that you show. And I really want to ask you too about that. Like, how was this journey for you? Because I'm sure that you got to this power through a journey, that it wasn't just like or maybe you were just born like a strong person, but how did you come into this healing, this power?
I think I was born a strong person, but when it comes to handling my sensuality and seeing things clearly, that was definitely a journey because I didn't even understand, like, I mean, you know, when you grow up maybe looking a certain way when you're a teenager and you just assume you always look that way. Like, you know,
Mhm.
I was like a tomboy, very underdeveloped until I was in my early 20s. And so when guys started finding me attractive, I was just kind of like, I was like, I don't know,
Yeah.
you know, and I always had this very free spirited energy. Um, so some would say sensual energy that I just shared my passion all over the place. And so um, it could be seen as like misusing sexual energy to people that perceive it the wrong way or want to take that energy from you, right? So
Mhm.
it took me a while to kind of understand how people were perceiving it or what was going on. And also a journey of me discovering what was my energy to own and what was their stuff to
Yeah.
leave for them to deal with. Because I understand that when you are healing yourself and you step into your power and especially your sensual energy, you trigger other people.
Yeah.
You know, it can be for the good or the bad, but you trigger other people. And it's learning how to get comfortable with that and allowing that to just be what it is without taking it personal,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. And it's so fascinating that you say that it seemed like it was being misused by people that were craving to take it. Because I think that one of the most um, unspoken rules that hurts us the most as women is this idea that we need to be soft, that we need to be nice girls, that we need to be allowing. So when we dare to stand in our truth, that is so opposite from that, because I find that the truth is that women are naturally fierce, but that
Oh
it's
yeah, or
culture.
mama bears. Yeah.
Exactly. It's culture that makes us be like, no, but be nice. I feel like the electrocuted animal that it's constantly triggered to be fearful. But the reality is that we are fierce. That is our very own nature. So culture teaches us that that's wrong, that is misusing our energy, that is misusing our force. And the
Well, you know,
reality is,
anything.
yeah,
Oh, sorry. I was
no,
just
no,
gonna say
please.
anything that like makes us like, if we're questioning, you know, what we're being told, then it's like, oh no, like don't question that. Don't step out of alignment, so, you know, with what you're being told to do and act like. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, we're all human. We all have our own personal boundaries and our truth and our expression, and we should all be allowed to express that regardless of our sex.
Yeah. Yeah, fully agree. And the beautiful thing is that when we do that, we let other people be like that as well. There is an unspoken permission, right? When we step up in our true power, we just let other people be in their power.
Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because like I don't usually wear low cut shirts very often because I can't always handle the attention gracefully that I get from when I do have it. But like while we're having this chat and I see you in that beautiful shirt, I'm like, oh, I wish I like had a shirt that was like, you know, free expression, that I could like not care, you know what I mean, and not have to think about that stuff.
Yeah. And just hearing you, I don't take that attention gracefully. I'm like, I love that. Like, I want to be able to snap back more. Like, so I know that I hold myself back a little bit too much. I'm like, I just want to just a little bit more often.
Oh, my fire is not mistaken at all. They feel the wrath when I'm not enjoying that dirty energy they're giving me, you know.
I love that. I mean, and of course, you're a martial artist, right? As well. I love that. I used to be a martial artist for a while. I wanted to, and I want to go back to martial arts. I did kung fu and I did karate, and I just missed it so much. But I had some sexual harassment in my kung fu, so I had to stop.
It's
But
so
it really broke
unfortunate.
my
Yeah,
heart.
I hear it happen to a lot of women that I know in my field as well. They've dealt with that. They, you know, they travel somewhere to see like a master of the art that they're practicing in, and then they deal with that same shit, and it's
Yeah.
just enough, you know, like the time has come where this shit is going to disintegrate. We are done with it.
Yes, yes, we cannot just keep taking it, especially because it just takes away our passion. Like I was really passionate about my martial arts. I really miss that. I really have so much fun. The other day I was looking at some trainings of Mexican lucha libre, and I was like, oh my God, I would have so much fun just doing the jumps and the turns and all the funny things that they do. And my kids were like, yeah, you should really just go back.
Definitely, yeah. No, I second that. You should definitely go back into it if it's starting to like light that passion up within you. Definitely go create a different
Yeah,
experience than the one you had.
yeah,
And if it
that's
happens
so
again, then handle it differently in a
exactly.
way that makes you proud, and he can leave, not you, you know.
Exactly, exactly. And again, that's the beautiful permission, right? It's like those circles were usually circles of men. And then we stepping into those circles is disruptive already. So sometimes we have what it takes to just stay, and sometimes we don't because we are too young or too
Yes.
unexperienced or whatever. But it's so important to connect with other women that have walked the path so that we can really get that power back.
Yeah, and sometimes they honestly purposely do it to see if we'll leave,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
because we're a threat in one way or another, right? It's just, it's all, what's the word I'm looking for? Fragile ego.
yeah, yeah. Fully agree. Yeah, yeah. And it's so funny because at the end of the day, that fragility has a reason to be, which is the fact that we're freaking powerful, and it's like, okay, they are going to have to learn how to deal with our power instead of us learning how to move through their egos.
Yeah, it's time to no longer step on eggshells. you know, and that's the thing, like when people see within you something that they're suppressing within themselves, it triggers them.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you, so speaking precisely about triggering in women, have you dealt with that kind of energy from other women? Because we cannot go with the idea that, yeah, sisterhood is always nice and flowers and butterflies. If there is a deep wound about
Whew,
the
yeah.
connection with women, how have you dealt with it? What have you experienced with that?
Oh God, I've experienced a ton of stuff. It's been, trying to find the right word for it. Like, I definitely have moments where I want to ask, like, are you okay? Like the amount of triggering, like my full existence of just standing here, because I never go out of my way to create drama with women. I love women, and I've done my healing work, and I don't misuse my sensual energy or whatever. I'm very conscious about the way I walk in the world. But yet still, whatever it is I hold can trigger women, and they've gotten really, really dirty sometimes, you know, just to bring drama towards you, or just to like try to bring you down and different things like that. It's something that I'm still learning how to navigate and like not take personal. I do understand that it's their stuff, not mine. Like I noticed, this was pre-COVID. I do a lot of things by myself. Like I'll go to stand-up comedy, I'll go to a restaurant, go to the movies. And I was standing in line at a restaurant waiting to go in, and there was a couple in front of me. And the girl in front of me with her boyfriend instantly like was giving me like the dirty look, because I was by myself and just behind them, right? And I was like, okay, interesting. But instead of maybe the younger me getting shy about it or feeling like I should like lower, you know, make myself small, I just held space for her. I'm like, clearly you need some healing, you know, you need some love. So it's just when you see it for what it is, it's a little bit easier to hold space for, but sometimes it's very overwhelming.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, whew.
Wow, I'm so glad that you were in that power and that you didn't go and make yourself small. But I can see how maybe many years before it could have been different.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was always so mindful about not wanting to hurt someone's feelings, right? And then I started to realize, like, wait a minute, I'm actually not doing anything. It's not me. I'm not going out of my way to do, you know, so it's, I stopped taking on that responsibility of someone else's triggers.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so powerful. That's so powerful. My first sisterhood wound was when my first was when I was a teenager, right? Of course, there were experiences, and maybe even before, because for whatever reason, sometimes girls grow up thinking that it's okay to be mean to other girls. So I
Oh, yeah.
dealt with a lot of bullying. Yeah. But one of the most painful wounds was from a very dear friend. When I got pregnant, I didn't plan it. I I was too young. I was, well, not too young, but too young for my plans. I was 23. I wanted to have children until I was 30, if ever, but life just happened. And this friend felt angry at me, like if I had betrayed her. So I was living in my own drama because I was suffering in that moment because I was
Yes.
poor, you know, without a job and all of that. Like I had enough on my shoulders in that moment. And she was like, yeah, but you're a loser. You're not part of the, like, how can I still be your friend if I have different goals from you? And she left me. So it was
Yeah.
like, wow, how sad can it be that friends just break up with you? Because it was really like a breakup, and it was that painful. Because in the hardest times, like in times of rain, in times of storm, when it comes to what happens in people's lives. So I made myself the promise that I wouldn't do that to my friends, that I would be with them even when they were going through hard times or through toxic relationships or through things that honestly I wish I didn't have to deal with, but they were alone, and if I left them, they could just
Yeah.
be alone in when
Yeah.
they were really needing somebody.
Yeah, it's hard. And in a situation like that too, it kind of clears out the people that don't necessarily have your best interests at heart and are maybe getting something from you from what you're giving them, you know, and when they feel like they're not going to get that anymore, then they just kind of walk the other direction. So it was a bit of a blessing in disguise. But
Mhm.
a lot of us too are not taught as younger women the shifts and changes we go through as we get older, like getting pregnant, having families and stuff like that, and how that can change the dynamics of our friendship.
Mhm.
Right. A lot of that is never really talked about either. And it's just
Yeah.
a part of the healthy process of growing up and transitions. And
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. And also another thing that we're not taught is about just embracing our sensuality so that we don't have to be threatened by the sensuality of somebody else, which is what you just described about the restaurant. It's literally a wound because that woman might have felt that her sensuality was less than, and that comparison immediately just
Mhm.
plays games in our head. So how different could it be? And I know that it was for me when I was feeling unfulfilled and yeah, literally unfulfilled and disconnected and dissociated from my body. I would feel jealous about other women. And then it took me healing to go and say, oh, wait, what's going on is that I actually want to live my dreams. And I see those being lived by somebody else. So I feel jealousy because I'm craving to be that person. It's like listening to that voice that it's telling you, okay, there is a dream here that you're not fulfilling, and you
Mhm.
cannot put that on somebody else as if it was their responsibility.
Yeah, it's your body letting you know that there's a need being unfulfilled,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
instead of projecting that onto someone else and just being resentful, which we're not taught how to navigate our inner compass and our inner dialogue and our inner healing. It would make life so much easier if we just were like, oh, like I'm feeling this emotion. What is it like? There's so much psychology out there that I feel like there would be an amazing program that we could put together that would be like, okay, this means this need's not being met. And this is, instead of not being aware and just like projecting all of your stuff onto other people.
Mhm. Totally. That could just make our lives so easy because then what you have is adults with sisterhood wounds, and they mistrust other women because they are like, oh my God, they are going to hurt me too. So it takes also a lot of healing to get women to work together after
Mhm,
they have
mhm.
been wounded so much in their
It's
younger
true. Yeah,
years.
I still have quite the protection around me as well, but I feel like it's necessary still to some degree, like in certain environments where the women don't have my best interests at heart and they aren't being genuine and authentic to my, like,
Mhm.
they're being nice to my face, but the minute they're not, talking to me, they're talking behind my back, stuff like that. I definitely put up an energetic protection and boundary, and because I only want genuine, authentic people in my life. Like, life is too short to have anything else.
Yes. Oh, yes. I love that. I just feel that. Yes, it's so powerful and it's so important. I just feel like just as I see us having this conversation, I feel this fire that you have, this beautiful flower fire, and then I see the water. It's like it's learning how to navigate the water and the fire, right? Like, okay, I can be soft and I can be gentle and receive my people, but I can also be fiery and protect myself. And I can be, it just feels like a beautiful dance that we need to learn how to perform in life and in our relationships in general.
Hmm. Yeah, that allowing yourself to be okay with having needs and expressing your boundaries, and where you're at, and being okay with cutting off people and not feeling guilty about it because it's for your own mental health. And
I just really hope that when people listen to this conversation, they get that, like this fierceness, because I find that it's really a part that we really need to incorporate more in our lives. I feel like if there is something that I wish more women had, was a healthy connection with their sexuality and their fierceness. And the funny thing is that they are usually connected. A healthy expression of sexuality is usually fierce. It's not soft and receptive and all cute and magnetic, but it's really fierce, like the meat of the vagina dentata. Like they have a reason to be afraid of pussies because we are really fierce.
yes, absolutely. And I think I see a retreat coming on with the two of us.
Yes, exactly. Embracing the fierceness.
Fierce and sensuality. Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's so interesting. I don't know if you ever have, like, what kind of things do the women that come to you Like what is it that attracts you, like them to you for? Like what is it that you you unlock in them?
There is this, it's so funny because I would usually say that it's a sense of safety, that it's a sense of just feeling health. But I have also received the message from these same people that yes, they are safe because they sense a sense of loving fierceness. Like they know that I am going to be, the moment in which I really stand in my power, I am going to be like, no bullshit is allowed in this space. Like, yeah, have you noticed that you are doing this and the other? Very gently and kindly, let me point out that so they feel this dance of being very safe, but also fiercely protected and fiercely, passionately, um, seen and held. It's like no bullshit is allowed in space. It's like
And
I'm
that's where
going
the
to be
clarity
on your
comes
side. Yeah, I'm going to
through.
be on your side, but I'm going to also push you to punch the other opponent right in the nose, like.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to have healthy boundaries, because I don't know about for you, but I know for me, the more I tap into that feminine energy, like you attract everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything is kind of magnetized to you, and you have to have boundaries.
Yeah.
Otherwise, shit just gets crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yes, totally. It's fascinating because that has been a journey for me these years. Like I just came when I started working openly as a coach, it was like, yeah, let's just show up and see what unfolds. And then I was like, oh my God, there is a perking here. There is somebody trying to take advantage here. There is somebody like it just started
Yeah.
coming in those directions. So I had to learn how to be more fierce and how to stop being like my nature is fierce, but sometimes I put a little bit of niceness around it, and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, this is not working. I need to remove the niceties and just tell them to fuck off directly. And because it really it's such a waste of energy. Like just trying
Oh
to
my God, yeah, I
work
know.
around that, it's just a waste of energy. So it's like, yeah, I am now magnetic. Now I need to also have powerful boundaries. That is maybe the most important lesson
And
about that.
protection, yeah, it's like allowing your inner divine masculine to protect you in
Yeah.
that process.
Yeah, wearing a spear and sword and get ready to fight and to kick some ass.
Yeah, I remember getting to a place, and I usually have to tap in again to get there. I wish I could stay there all the time, but it's not the case. Every day is different. But I remember getting to a place where I would literally I had an experience where I walked into a room, and like two people that I would have set up healthy, like strong boundaries with, just walk right out. And I was like, yeah, this is it. When your energy's in this place, you don't even need to have a conversation. It just, it does the work for you.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, I really feel like the only thing is that we are taught. Well, of course, we're taught to be nice. We have already discussed that, but it's like this part shows up and it seems threatening to everybody around us. So it's like learning how to stand in this part, in this power, no matter who feels threatened, so that you can actually be faithful to and loyal to your own self, to your own energy. It's
Yes.
like it's being responsible and accountable for your own energy, and instead of giving it away to everybody, hoping that they will be kind when they use it.
Yeah, which is never always the case.
Yeah.
And also like understanding that we're breaking these patriarchal programs of what people see sensuality as, and the female body, and all this shit. We're taking our power back. We're taking our bodies back. We're letting them own their shit.
Yeah, totally. Honestly, this is so refreshing to hear because my issue has been that the coaching industry, it's way too forgiving and too tender to this kind of patriarchy, which is literally patriarchy, patriarchy recycled, right? Like, oh, he's confused. Just be kind. Kindly tell him to not be in your space. It's like, oh, but you have to be professional in how you tell him. And it's really upsetting for me to try to deal with this, with the advice of the coaching industry saying, just kindly tell him to not talk to you like that. It's like, no. So the best advice that I've received have come from women outside the coaching community that say, okay, no, that's fuck up, that's messed up. Just tell them to what you really want to say. What do you really want to say? I don't want them to waste my time. Okay, then just say that, or just block, or just but from that space, not from a space of, oh, block as if nothing had happened. No, something happened. Your space is your space is sacred, and somebody was trying to abuse your space. So literally cut from that place of fierce boundary, and not from a place of, yeah, it's okay, just don't step here anymore.
Yeah, no, I think it's really important to be a clear, fierce mirror for people.
Yeah.
You know, especially when they're being like dickheads and disrespectful and whatever. I just have no tolerance and patience for it. I'm like, no, it's just not okay, not an option.
Oh, yes. See? Women empowering women. That's the effect.
They honestly, they learn faster if you're just a dickhead to them.
Right. Totally. Yeah. I just love that. The truth is that, and I spoke about this with my husband some time ago, it's like, actually men like to be talked to in a strong, with strength, with power. That's a voice that they can respect, because that's the way in which they talk to one another. They won't go like, oh, come on, Peter, don't go there. They just go like, dude, don't go there. Like, so they of course don't respect our boundaries when we are too soft and too kind. They think that we're joking, right? And it's not a justification. They should respect it in whatever tone, but it's like, we sometimes pull back from being more fierce, when actually we need to start being really fierce, because they are asking for that treatment sometimes.
Oh my God, yeah. It's I don't know, it's like projecting your own bullshit and energy onto someone when you have unhealed trauma and unhealed wounds and this like dirty perception of whatever you're looking at. It's like, no, just own your bullshit. Like I mean, I'm a respectful person to people, especially when they're respectful to me. But when I get that really gross energy, I'm like, what was it, last week? I was just walking and this guy was coming up to me in this really gross energy, and he was starting to try to talk to me. And instead of even engaging, I literally just put my hand up to his face like I'm walking. And I was like, I don't even have time. Like, just fucking no. You know, and I was like, and I laughed because of like the old, like younger version of me would never have had the courage to do that. But I'm like, I literally, my time is sacred. Like, fuck off with that weird energy. No.
I love that. I'm a fan. like, ladies, there's homework here. Just start practicing here. No.
And if you need a little extra help, just ask Spirit. Spirit is always there to help protect and guide you.
And Spirit is so no bullshit. That's the thing that I love. It's like this idea that spirituality is soft and gentle and smooth. And when you really get in touch with the Spirit is no bullshit energy. Spirit, it's like, it doesn't even engage when there is nothing to engage with. It's just no bullshit. And it's clear, and it's few words, and it's powerful, and really no bullshit energy in there.
Yeah, it's the humans that have all the undealt with trauma that they need to work through.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I remember this experience with a program that it's the first time that I really felt like my higher self coming through. It was so powerful. But the funny thing is that there was this part of me, the wounded part of me, that was like, oh my God, I could feel the two parts. I could feel the part of the Spirit taking over and looking with fire eyes. It was really intense and fiery. And I could see this little voice in my head saying, lower your gaze. They are going to think that you're trying to pick up a fight. And it was just chatty. And the other part was just ignoring this voice, like just didn't even engage. It was just like, okay, I'm here, I'm present. And it was just fire until the other part got it and was quiet, but it was just fire. So I have that clear memory of that part of a spirit taking over and spirit being fierce and being without any hint of shame about who it was, and not even engaging with the whoa, 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 that was in my head, but
Yeah.
quieting it down with its power. And I was like, oh, so that's what it's like. It's not
Mm.
a lot of complicated words. It's silence, depth, and just this fire that shows up when it's on.
It's like it's like when you connect to it, it's an inner knowing, and there is no back and forth. Or I had this experience once on public transit where this mentally ill guy was across from me, and he started to like gaze at me in a really harsh way, and he was going to start walking towards me and like start something, right? And I literally I didn't say anything. I just kept looking at him, and I asked spirit to protect me. And when he came up to me, he said, "You're really lucky," and he walked past me, and then he went and started harassing the woman that was waiting by the door.
Wow.
And I was like, there's confirmation.
Yeah, totally, 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 totally. It's so, I mean, it's so sad that he was harassing women, and it's so powerful and such a confirmation that you were protected, and that when spirit it's on, it's like this inner shield that it's just,
You don't
it
even need
just
words. Yeah, you don't even need
exactly. You
words.
don't even need words. How powerful is that? Oh, I love that. I would really love to leave this conversation with these two powerful sharings, because I really feel like it's deeply powerful and important for us to remember that power doesn't even need words. It's just there.
And it also doesn't necessarily need more fierce protecting, because the energy itself will protect you.
Yes.
Just embody it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Melissa, for this conversation.
No, I always love our chats.
Yes, me too. And this was beautiful. It was so amazing to just be here and sharing this space together.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to the next time that we get to connect again.
Me too.